Hi, I'm Jamie from So Wimpy Teacher, and I'm wrapping up a series that I've been doing about how to teach writing. Today we're going to talk about that first week or two of school. How are we going to teach these procedures? How will we get writing workshops started? How will we make sure that our students will be writing the entire time during independent writing time? So, let's get started. First of all, I have to give you a little pep talk. Take your time teaching these procedures. I used to get stressed out because I'd still be teaching procedures, but the teacher next door would be a week or two into curriculum, and I would think my students are already behind. But the reality is, the time spent teaching the procedures and the expectations and practicing it over and over again until it's really concrete will mean that I am saving time every single day the rest of the year. That gives my students more independent writing time and makes my lessons more valuable. So I'm spending the time now to save the time the rest of the year. Also save you a lot of stress. I find that teachers don't teach the procedures or just maybe spend a day on it, and then they're frustrated. They say, my kids won't sit still and write. I can't give my kids different writing utensils. That would never work. I can't do conferences because I need to be watching my kids. The problem is that they didn't teach the procedures early on, and so they're not having much success with the program because their students haven't been taught what they should be doing. It hasn't been enforced, okay? So take the time now. Show them exactly what you expect of them. When you're finished with all of this, you'll be able to jump right in to one of your writing units. I like to jump into personal narrative because I think it's a fun way to start the beginning of the school year and learn about your students. All right, so take time. You'll need at least a week, and I kind of think 2 weeks if you want to work on the endurance of your writers. So plan that as you're looking at your back to school plans, all right? Maybe I hope you can still get all the training in and your personal narrative into your first quarter. All right, I have already written for you lesson plans for the first 5 days of writing. This is not like personal narrative writing lesson plans. This is like getting writing workshops started lesson plans. So I've written 5 days of lesson plans for you. I've made 5 days of anchor charts for you and student printable charts for you. And also, I mentioned this before, but I've included a few rubrics that you'll need when you do your first writing samples and even some dividers for your writers' notebooks, okay? All of this for free. It is in a free email course. You'll receive 5 emails, and each day you'll receive a different freebie from me. So make sure you sign up for that. There is a link in this video description. So you're going to want to do that. I'll be referencing those materials throughout the video. Okay, this is one of my very favorite strategies. I use it to teach my students so many different procedures at the beginning of the year and to review them throughout the year, especially right around holiday breaks. When they start to get antsy and seem to forget the rules, I bring these back out. I actually learned this whole procedure from the Daily 5 book. I don't use the Daily 5, but when I read the book, this particular procedure really stood out to me, and so I used it all the time with so much success. All right, lots of us model what we want our students to do. We at least sit there and we tell them, and then maybe we have them practice it. And that's fantastic. But if you really want to up your game, here's what you're going to do. You're going to be telling your students, maybe you're teaching them where they can write in the classroom, okay? And you've already told them the rules, showed them the different places. Look around while you're giving this little mini lesson. You already probably know, but there are a kid or 2 or 3 that you already know are going to test you. You already know they're going to pick the wrong spot, sit by their friends, talk, and not write. They've already planned that, and you can just tell. Sometimes it's sort of like your class clown who likes to get some attention, and they'll take it whichever way. So watch for that kiddo, because that kiddo is actually going to help you. After you've given your little lesson, you've told them, now call on that kiddo. Billy, I want you to show the class everything they should not do when they're going to their writing spot every day. Show them how to make it awful. Do everything wrong. Break every rule. Billy's going to be excited. I mean, that kind of sounds fun, doesn't it? Don't you wish that sometimes at staff meetings you got to break all the rules? So Billy's excited. He's going to get up and he's going to talk and he's going to walk all around the room and he's going to do everything you told him not to, right? And the class is going to laugh and you can laugh too. He's laughing. Billy's having a good time. As soon as he's finished, have a little chat with the whole class. What were some of the things Billy did that we should not do when we're getting ready for writing workshop? Make a little list maybe, just have a short conversation and then turn right to Billy and say, all right, Billy, I need you again. This time, can you please show the class exactly how it should be done? You have to be perfect. Now he loves the attention. He's already shown you everything not to do. This is his opportunity to shine a second time in a row. He's going to do it right. He's going to show you everything you should do. He's going to do it perfectly. And the class is going to watch. Maybe clap for him. Good job. And then you can look right at Billy and say, now I know that Billy knows how to do this. Billy can't do it the wrong way anymore. He's already shown you that he can do it right, and he knows that now. You can call on a couple of students if you have quite a few students you think might give you a little bit of trouble, depending on your time. It's fun. Your class will love it. They'll all want to try to be the one who does it wrong. But then as soon as they do it right, you have a little chat about what changed. What did Billy do best now? Your class is learning how to do it. And then you can have your entire class model it the correct way. Have them model it twice, 3 times if you need to. I use this strategy quite often to teach all kinds of procedures, from how to line up for lunch to how to get a book out of the classroom library, how to transition between centers, how to pack up at the end of the day or unpack at the beginning of the day. So when you're looking at my lesson plans, you may see this very strategy written into several of these plans. So I thought I might explain it to you. Try it in your classroom. You'll see how much fun your students have. But once they've modeled it for you correctly, you know that they can do it correctly, and they know you know as well. All right. Let's take a look at the 5 days of lesson plans that I provided for you and kind of what you'll be teaching each of those 5 days. In some of these cases, you might think, that's silly. We don't need to spend a day on that. Trust me, if you do, you are going to solve a lot of problems before they even happen, which will make your writing workshop time more successful. On day 1, I like to start off by teaching my students what will writing look and sound like. So we fill out an anchor chart together. We talk about what the teacher will look and sound like during a mini lesson, during work time, during share time. We talk about what students will look and sound like, and we fill out this anchor chart. This is sort of an example of a filled out one, but maybe for mini lesson it would say, students are on the carpet, hands to ourselves. Students are quiet when others are talking or teaching. Students will participate. Students are listening. It's quick. We must move fast. For work time, it says students work independently on their writing. It's very quiet. Your pencil's always moving. Students complete the task the teacher gave them. The teacher is having small group conferences and can't be interrupted. That's important. And for share time, students will listen to the teacher to know what to share. Student will share with whatever partner is closest to them. Students will listen to their partner and compliment them. Students will not talk about anything other than their writing. We're filling out this anchor chart, and students fill out their own anchor chart that they can add to their writer's notebook. So they have a reference. There's no excuse. In those freebies, I included blank versions for you and your students too, so that you can talk about what your writing workshop time will look and sound like. All right. Day 2, writing materials. I like day 2, it's fun. Day 1's pretty serious. Day 2's fun. I'm guessing you have a favorite writing utensil. Most of us do. For me, it's the Papermate Flair pen. I don't go anywhere without them. They're in all of my purses. They're in my office. They're in my bedroom. They're everywhere because I love to write with those pens. My handwriting looks best with those pens. I don't do well with a ballpoint pen. The way I hold my pen, it just doesn't seem to write very smooth for me. So it's not a good choice for me. I also struggle with mechanical pencils. I tend to push too hard on the lead and break them. So I prefer a yellow pencil, nice and sharp. Those are my favorite writing utensils. So when I choose to write, I'm going to choose one of those utensils. Your students might not know what their favorite writing utensil is yet, but I'm guessing they probably have one they write better with. And it doesn't have to be the traditional pencil, because writing time should be fun. Consider, and you don't have to do this, but consider adding several different types of writing utensils to your writing workshop area where you keep utensils, or maybe if you have shared bins on group tables, however you keep your supplies, you don't have to change it all. Consider getting a few different types of pens, maybe simple Bic pens, maybe some that are more ballpoint or felt. How about some mechanical pencils? Maybe some are 0.7, some are 0.9, and then some sharp yellow pencils. Put them all together. On day 2, give your students some scratch paper. Let them experiment with the different writing utensils. Have them write their name. Have them write the date. Several of them are going to notice that certain pens don't work as well for them, the way that they hold their utensil. You'll also want to talk about some of your rules about the utensils, that when they go to get their utensil, if the one they wanted isn't there, they need to quickly grab another and get back to work. So you'll want to talk a little bit about that and then practice. Put all the writing utensils back where they'll be and have students model how to get the pencils and how not to get the utensils. Make sure students know if you have any specific rules about sharpening the pencils or what they need to do with their utensils to put them away. Practice. It might sound silly to spend a whole day on writing utensils, but I promise that this will save you some time later and will make it just a little more fun for your students. Okay? So that's day 2. All right. Day 3, we are going to talk about finding a place in the classroom to write. I used to always make my students write in their desks, but then I had this thought that maybe the desk isn't very comfortable. They might have their best handwriting at the desk, and it might be a great place for them to write their final draft or even an assessment. But maybe while they're drafting and trying to be creative, they should be in a more comfortable place. And for some of them, that is the desk. For others, it might be at a table. It might be on the carpet. It might be in a beanbag chair. It might be in the classroom library. It might be closer to a place where you have anchor charts on a bulletin board or a word wall that they like to reference. Have students walk around the classroom? Well, first, I do an anchor chart. I talk about where they are allowed to write, because they can't just write anywhere. They can't sit on top of my tables because it's a danger issue. And then we talk about what transitions will look like. What will it look and sound like when they're walking from the place they are before writing starts, maybe their desk, maybe a center, to writing time? What will it look like? Are they coming from the carpet? Where are they coming from? Probably coming from someplace where they got their writing utensils, right? We talk about those transitions. We model how to do them and how not to do them. It's fun. And I let students wander around the room and try out different places. They're going to find out some places are distracting. Maybe they're too close to the classroom door and they tend to look out the door. Oh, that's not going to be a good place for me. Oh, my friend's chosen this place, so that's probably not going to be a good place. If there's any rules you have about how many students are allowed in a writing place, make sure you let students know on this day. I have all of this included in those free lesson plans that I'll provide for you if you sign up for that writing email course. So, also, students, of course, have their own printable so that they can write it out, and there's no excuse for them not knowing the rules about where to write. Day 4, we're going to work on using our writing paper. And this, again, may sound like a silly lesson to you if you've never taught it. But teaching your writers how to use their writing paper will save you a little hassle and time later when you're teaching the content. So my students might get their writing notebooks all set up. They don't have to have them all set up if you don't want to, as long as they have a notebook with paper. I'm going to explain to them how I want their paper set up. We'll talk about skipping lines. I mentioned this in my whole video about independent writing time. We'll talk about this line down the side and how they're not going to write in this column, how it'll be used later when they're adding and revising their work. After we talk about that, and we do an anchor chart and student printable about it so that they remember, I'm going to have them practice everything we've learned so far. Have your students go and get their writing utensils. Have them bring their writing materials to the spot they've chosen to write in. Have them sit in that spot and prepare their writing paper. And then even tell them, as soon as you're in your spot and ready to go, start writing a short story about something fun you did over the summer break. I'm not actually concerned about the content of their writing, but we're practicing now all the procedures in a row. Get my writing materials, I've got my pencil, I'm heading to my spot, sit down, my paper is prepped, and I'm writing until writing time is over. We're practicing everything, and it gives you an opportunity to see, do they need to keep practicing that? Because you can redo that 3-4 times. It doesn't matter if they never get to writing that story. Keep repeating it until you feel your class has mastered it. And let them celebrate when they do. Turn on some fun music and let them dance when they've got it down. Day 5 is really important. Day 5 is all about writing problems they're going to have. All those questions that they like to interrupt your conferences to ask you. Things like, oh, what if my pencil breaks? What if my pen stops working? I have to go to the bathroom. What if I can't think of anything to write about? I'm finished. What do I do? What if I can't spell this word? My Chromebook isn't working. These are questions, and you may think of many more that your students will interrupt you to ask over and over. So on day 5, I like to just ask them and give them the answer now. We go through an anchor chart where I write down the questions they have, the common questions, and all of the answers to it. At the same time, they complete, of course, their own mini anchor chart. So they already have the answers. I shouldn't be interrupted during conferences because they have the answers in their writer's notebook. This is a great time to just get this all out of the way and tell them I cannot be interrupted unless there is a fire or a lot of blood. Everything else you should be able to independently solve on your own. All right? This helps my students just to be more independent. Again, all 5 days are written out into nice lesson plans for you so you won't forget the different things I've said, and those lesson plans are free. Please note that I said 5 days, but it might be more than 5 days in your classroom. You might have to spend 2 days on one of these topics because you watch and your students are not ready to move on. Don't move on until they are ready. It will only cause you more trouble later. You also may want to spend some time letting them build up that endurance once they found their place to write and they're working on a little piece about summer break, whatever it is. Before you've even taught the genres or anything, you may want to work on endurance. Set goals, just like you would read to self goals. Today, I want to see if we can write for 10 minutes straight without anyone talking or putting their pencils down. I wonder if for 10 minutes, and you might have to start at 5. Depends on the age of your students. But I wonder if, can we do that? 10 minutes where we're writing the entire time. Your pencil doesn't stop moving. Challenge them and sit and write with them. And then if they can do it, the next day say, could you do 12? Or if they really did it easily, say, how about I challenge you to 15 minutes today? Chart it. Even if you don't set goals, chart how long are we able to write without anyone talking, with pencils always moving. chart it. Get them excited and tell them that your goal is to get to 20 minutes. They love that. So you might need that whole next week to work on that endurance training. But that's okay. I promise once you start the personal narrative unit, or whichever unit you choose to start with, that you'll be happy that you spent all of that time helping your students to prepare to be successful. All right. I hope that these videos have been extra helpful for you as a writing teacher. I went ahead and I've included a bonus video about writing share time and author celebrations. So I hope you enjoy that bonus video. Bye.